A naval force is secretly amassing in the Caribbean. Washington says drug war, but the number of ships is at an all-time high. What if the real target is something completely different? The Caribbean, known for its turquoise blue waters, is now witnessing a completely different scene. American warships, destroyers, nuclear submarines, all quietly deployed around these small island nations. The official statement is simple: fighting drug trafficking. But the numbers tell a different story. The number of military assets sent to the region in the last 60 days breaks the record of the last 20 years. 1 aircraft carrier group, 6 destroyers, 12 patrol boats, and at least 1 nuclear submarine. Just for cartel operations, or just a few hundred kilometers from Venezuela's coast, this close to the world's largest proven oil reserves. Coincidence or a strategic calculation? This is exactly where the real questions start to emerge, because the timing of these operations perfectly overlaps with escalating tensions with Venezuela. Oil tankers are being seized, economic embargoes are tightening, and right at this moment, this much military power is being concentrated in the Caribbean. Pentagon officials tell the press that the main target of operations is transnational criminal organizations, cartel leaders, drug shipments, illegal arms trade, all valid reasons. But history has shown us that official statements don't always reflect the whole truth. First clue: geography. American ships aren't randomly scattered. They're positioned off Trinidad and Tobago, off Aruba's coast, especially along Venezuela's oil export routes. These regions are critical points in global oil trade. Hundreds of millions of dollars worth of crude oil passes through here every day. Second clue: timing. This military buildup coincides exactly with Washington's increased pressure on Venezuela. In December, the Trump administration declared a total and complete blockade on Venezuela. In January, this blockade began to be implemented in practice. Tankers are being tracked, some are being seized, crews are being interrogated. And the third clue? This is the most important one. The scale of operations is far too much for just fighting drug trafficking. Do you need a nuclear submarine to stop drug boats? Is an aircraft carrier group necessary? These questions are making military analysts suspicious. But the truly shocking detail is just emerging now. Since late 2024, Russia and China have begun deepening military and economic cooperation with Venezuela. Russia signed a strategic partnership agreement. China increased oil purchases. Iran continued to provide technical support. 3 major powers are supporting Venezuela in Washington's backyard. And this is exactly where America's presence in the Caribbean makes sense. This isn't just a drug war. This is a geopolitical chess game. Move, counter move. Russia provides support. America increases pressure. China becomes an economic lifeline. America tightens the embargo. Iran sends technical aid. America controls sea routes. But there's another dimension to this story, and this dimension is far more dangerous. This military buildup in the Caribbean isn't limited to Venezuela alone. China's growing economic influence in the region also bothers Washington. Over the past decade, China has invested billions of dollars in Caribbean countries. Ports have been built, infrastructure projects have been implemented, trade agreements have been signed. There are Chinese-backed industrial parks in Trinidad and Tobago, giant projects operated by Chinese companies in Jamaica, technology cooperation between Cuba and China, all happening in America's traditional sphere of influence. And Washington isn't watching idly. The increase in military presence is actually part of a much larger strategy. The message is clear. The Caribbean is our region, and who does what with which country here, we decide. However, this strategy has a cost: economic, political, and humanitarian. According to official figures, dozens of people have lost their lives in operations since December 2024. Most are identified as drug traffickers. But independent human rights organizations paint a different picture. They say many victims were civilian fishermen or commercial ship crew members. At the beginning of January, the Venezuelan military announced that 24 security personnel were killed in American operations. Washington denied these claims, but tensions in the region are increasing every day. Latin American countries are watching this situation closely. Some remain silent while others openly criticize. Colombia, Mexico, Brazil, all are uncomfortable with Washington's unilateral actions in the region, because these actions raise serious questions about regional sovereignty and international law. International law experts are asking, do American ships have the right to stop a tanker in international waters? Can sanctions be applied unilaterally? Can a country's maritime trade be blocked without UN Security Council approval? The answers are complex, but Washington maintains a clear stance. Our sanctions, our rules. We stop ships that don't comply, interrogate crews, seize vessels if necessary. This approach is harshly criticized, especially by Russia and China. Both countries make the piracy analogy. They accuse of disregarding international law, and they hint that they are considering sending their own naval forces to the region in response. This is where the real danger begins. What happens if Russia or China decides to provide military protection to their tankers heading to Venezuela, if American ships face off against Russian or Chinese ships in the Caribbean? History has shown how such tense moments can spiral out of control. The 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis brought the world to the brink of nuclear war. Soviet ships were carrying missiles to Cuba. The American Navy imposed a blockade. For days the world held its breath. Eventually the Soviets backed down. Missiles were taken back. But those memories are still fresh. Now it's 2025, and again in the same region, again two superpowers face to face. This time there are no missiles, but there's oil. And oil is the most strategic weapon of the 21st century. So what does America really want? Clear objective: change the current administration in Venezuela, or at least weaken it. If Nicolas Maduro loses power, the country's massive oil reserves could open to American companies. The economic benefit is enormous. The geopolitical gain is even greater. Because if Venezuela is brought under control, Russia and China's most important ally in Latin America disappears. The regional balance shifts in America's favor. The Caribbean becomes the American lake again. But there are many obstacles to realizing this scenario. The Venezuelan military is still loyal to Maduro. Russia and China provide material support. Iran sends technical assistance. And Latin American public opinion doesn't look favorably on American intervention. Therefore, Washington is applying a different strategy: slow strangulation, economic sanctions, blocking oil exports, international isolation, and of course, this military presence in the Caribbean. Every time a tanker is seized, Venezuela's economy weakens a little more. Every time a ship is stopped, the Maduro administration is cornered a little more. Every operation reinforces the message: either you cooperate with us or you collapse. However, this strategy has unexpected consequences too. The Venezuelan people have been experiencing economic crisis for years. Inflation at astronomical levels. Basic food items can't be found. Medicine shortage is extreme. Millions have fled the country. And American sanctions are making this situation even worse. Human rights organizations warn. Economic sanctions punish ordinary people. The wealthy and power holders find ways around them. But the poor population struggles with hunger, disease, hopelessness. Washington's argument is different. The Maduro administration already condemned its people to poverty. We're only pressuring the dictator. But reality is far more complex, because when sanctions collapse a country's economy, ordinary citizens suffer the pain the most. And this is exactly where another question emerges. Are these military operations in the Caribbean really fighting drugs, or are they part of an oil control war? The numbers give interesting clues. According to Pentagon reports, the amount of drugs seized in the last 6 months has increased significantly compared to previous years. However, the number of oil tankers seized in the same period is also at record levels. Military analysts say this: yes, drug operations are real, but the same military infrastructure, the same ships, the same intelligence network are also being used for the oil blockade. Two operations are intertwined, and which one is priority is unclear. Some experts go even further. They claim that the drug war is actually a cover, that the real goal is to strangle Venezuela's economic throat. Evidence: the geographical distribution of operations. Most are concentrated on oil export routes rather than drug transit routes. But the story doesn't end here, because this tension in the Caribbean is also affecting global energy markets. When Venezuelan oil is removed from the market, global crude oil supply decreases. Prices rise, energy costs increase. And who benefits from this? Alternative oil producers, that is, Saudi Arabia, Russia, America's own shale oil producers. An interesting paradox emerges. By removing Venezuelan oil from the market, America is actually raising oil prices. This is bad for American consumers, but good for American oil companies. Also good for Russia, because high oil prices give the Russian economy breathing room. Therefore, this hidden war in the Caribbean isn't just about Venezuela. Global energy balances, superpower competition, economic interests, all intersect in this small region. And now, let's get to the most critical question. So what happens next? Scenarios differ. Optimistic scenario: a diplomatic solution is found. Venezuela transitions to a new administration, or the current administration reconciles with Washington. Sanctions are lifted. The region returns to normal. Pessimistic scenario, tension escalates. Russian or Chinese ships come to the region. Conflict occurs with American ships. A small accident turns into a major crisis. 1962 repeats, but this time the outcome might be different. Realistic scenario. The current situation continues for a long time. Neither full conflict nor full peace. Constant tension, occasional small clashes. Economic war continues, and the Caribbean continues to be a silent battleground for superpowers. History shows us that such frozen conflicts can last for years. During the Cold War, the world lived with such tensions for decades, and perhaps we're now entering a new Cold War era. This time the fronts are different, but the game is the same. This hidden war in the Caribbean is actually just one chapter of a much larger story. America's global hegemony struggle, China and Russia's multipolar world vision, control of energy resources, the future of international law. And there's one truth in the middle. Turquoise blue waters no longer look as innocent as they used to. There's a power struggle in every wave, a strategic calculation on every ship, a hidden agenda in every operation. So what do you think? Is this really a drug war, or a silent struggle for oil and power? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if you found this analysis useful, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel, because we'll continue to follow these hidden wars in world politics.